can always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Red Media in partnership with TSN, it is season 7 of the Rain Dregs Hockey Podcast. It is the Stanley Cup Playoff Edition presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. The Tim's NHL Hockey Challenge is back. It's winding down with the Stanley Cup Playoff Edition. Only in the Tim Hortons app, you play for free. You have a chance to win daily prizes for picking players who you think will score, which we, on the Rain Dregs Podcast, haven't done a very good job of. There's also the grand prize of $5,000. So, Ray, the pressure is on. As we've got rival hotels here. You're near the airport. I'm more or less closer to the arena, I guess. I don't know. I'm at a Marriott. I don't know. Am I downtown? Near downtown?
No,
we're in
you're
North
15.
Carolina. I have no idea where I am, to be honest.
Honestly, that's a real thing. Like you get out of your Uber at the airport and it takes you to the hotel. And you have no idea where you are. You're about 15 minutes from downtown and about 15 from the rink. And so you'll get there. We'll see you down the rink today. You got a free meal last night. Congratulations.
See, I was going there. I was going to do it in my own way, but you just ripped the Band-Aid right off. Yeah. So Ray and I, we don't often meet in the same city. We don't. I mean, normally it is. It's the Stanley Cup Final. So here we are in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we meet for dinner. Nice place, Chop House. Michelle, the waitress, was tremendous. 10 out of 10.
Great recommendation for dinner. We were going in another direction. She steered us to this different fish, and she was a star. That was awesome.
I think that's what we had, right? It was the sea bass.
Sea bass. Yep.
Yeah. So the meal ends, and we're about to go our separate ways. And I just automatically am assuming I'm picking up the tab just because history shows that there was a bet. It was related, I think, to the Tim's Challenge, which we have done basically on an annual basis. And you handily won, I believe, the regular season or was the playoffs. It doesn't matter. But you won and we had a side bet, right? And the side bet was I would pick up dinner. Well, that's been a few years. So I went to the Plastic at this wonderful Chop House, only to be trumped by Ray Farrell for the purposes of the podcast. So you could chirp me.
Well, it was a rather half-hearted attempt by you, I would say.
It was a Ryan Rishaga attempt is what it was, like the alligator.
You just couldn't quite get there in time, and I was worried of the dust collecting on the envelope around the bill. So I figured, somebody should pick this up eventually. And so I wouldn't say that was my choice to pay, but you still owe me dinner. I like actually that you still owe me dinner. I like that.
I get that. Well, we'll see. I mean, we know the series is going 6. We know we're going back to Vegas, so there'll be opportunity there. Okay, let's get to the headlines, Ray. We'll talk about Game 5. We're recording this episode Thursday morning of Game 5. Headlines brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. Fans, you know the move. You arrive early because happy hour at the Canadian Brewhouse runs Monday to Saturday, 2 to 6 p.m., starting at $3.99. Skip the couch, hit the Brewhouse. Your home for every puck drop, every goal, and every cheer. There is a big, strong coaching theme away from the Stanley Cup Final. It draws our attention basically every Canadian Brewhouse headline segment, and this episode is no different. And we will inevitably have to get to the Mike Babcock scenario yet again. I know we went through it at length on Tuesday, but I want to start with another Oilers candidate who's longer available, and that's Peter Laviolette. The Los Angeles Kings officially announcing, Ray, that he is their new head coach. Is Peter Laviolette, given what you know, Pete, what you know of his championship-winning resume, the right man for the job at this time for the LA Kings?
Well, I think when you said at this time, I think yes, because the Kings are definitely in a transitional time here. We've got Anze Kopitar will will not be with the Kings for the first time in 20 years. Drew Doughty is coming to the end of his what will be Hall of Fame career. They did not at the deadline last year trade their first round pick. They are looking forward towards building some assets. But the one thing that Laviolette has done historically is anywhere that he goes, the first couple of years, there is a spike. The first year is definitely a spike. And so what the Kings are looking for is that spike this year
Yeah.
to help get them 1 year closer as they transition into a whole group of younger players. So in a sense, I view it almost as a bridge hire. Maybe it'll turn out to be longer, but the immediate hope would be that Laviolette's track record transitions to LA in that first year, they become a better team.
Okay, big step for general manager Ken Holland. And, you know, I think you've articulated well why Laviolette makes sense at this time, but this is just one part of the process for management, right? And there is a growing sense that Kenny Holland has a strong appetite to do something large. You're never going to replace Anze Kopitar. You can't just flip the page to a new chapter
Right.
as simply as I just said it. But that doesn't mean that you can't try and take advantage of what the market might be. And there could be some significant players. We don't have to identify which player we think that Holland covets. What I'm asking is, do you think that he's in the mood or in the market to do something substantial to bring a big piece into LA?
I do. So let's go back to the deadline last year because I think that gives a little bit of an illustration. So they traded for
Yeah.
Artemi Panarin. 2 days after they get Panarin, Kevin Fiala breaks his leg at the Olympics. So the plan to add more offense went right out the window. Basically, they treaded water. So now they'll have Fiala back. Hopefully, he's healthy. I believe everything is that he'll be fine. You have Fiala, you have Panarin, and what else? Right? Like that. It's the what else to me is where the big piece or the big swing would attempt to be made.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being made with a bunch of futures.
Okay.
Because that is, in a way, counterintuitive. As they look around and they see emerging Anaheim, emerging San Jose, probably emerging Chicago, the Western Conference, the ball is about to turn over to some of these younger teams. And LA has to be careful. Like some of the older teams, that you get caught chasing something you can't catch.
Mm-hmm. So let's go down the coaching wheel for a moment. And I mentioned off the top, and it's been reported on, we know that Laviolette was an interviewed candidate of the Edmonton Oilers, and that should surprise no one. Again, when you think of the type of coach that Stan Bowman and the Edmonton Oilers are desperately waiting and looking for right now. What was curious about all of this is the involvement of McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman, to name but a few. And it's been reported, but I know that they interviewed Peter Laviolette. Now, whether they did it virtually face-to-face, it doesn't matter, but those three guys were involved in a Q&A with Laviolette, likewise with Mike Babcock. Is this a special case, in your opinion, Ray, where you've got two superstars, and I would call Zach Hyman a star player in the NHL, driving the bus of the Edmonton Oilers? Or is this a new age of that top level player who is like, I'm as best I can, I'm going to try and take advantage to massage this organization to a place where we can win? I don't recall. Players have always had, top players have had input. I'm sure managers and coaches ask for that input in their opinion. But when you get to the place where you're literally interviewing candidates, that's different, right?
I don't even know where to start with this. Because why are you paying a general manager millions of dollars to be in charge?
Yeah.
If he's not, like, who's at some point, I guess Stan Bowman's making the decision on the coach, but if the players say, let's take it this way. Say the players like guy A and the management, headed by the GM, which I assume is still the head of management, likes guy B. And for several reasons likes guy B. So he's going to hire his guy, even though his star players tell them, oh, we prefer guy A.
Yeah.
Then they might as well run the draft meetings too. I think it is probably a new age that the input would be accepted in and welcomed in, because it certainly wouldn't have been when I played, and it wouldn't have been 2 Thursdays ago. But it is a different world. I don't see how this fits into any type of management structure. Any team. Let me put it this way. Do you think Florida's a well-run team?
Yes.
Do you think when they were letting go Andrew Brunette and brought in Paul Maurice that the players were in the meetings?
No.
I just don't. There has to be a chain of command. And as soon as that is beyond gray into really dark gray,
Yeah.
I just don't see how that becomes a real viable way to run an organization. I just don't. I understand the input. I get it. I totally get the input. But where does that line stop?
Right. Yeah. Is there a business association with this though? I mean, if you're
in what way?
Well, if you're Daryl Cates, owner of the Edmonton Oilers, you're looking at the hard facts. And Bob Stauffer speculated on the likelihood of Connor McDavid signing a mega extension, right? When he's
He
allowed
can't do
to
that
do
for
that.
at least a year, right?
Yeah.
He's at least a year away from that.
Yeah. So that's wishful thinking, I would guess, from ownership of the Edmonton Oilers, but he's their golden goose. Who's kidding who? We're probably talking hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of the association of Connor McDavid to the brand of the Edmonton Oilers. So whether it's Connor, or his agent, Judd Moldaver, I guess this is the captain just saying, I've been to the Stanley Cup Final twice. The last time we lost in Game 7. Not necessarily blaming it on coaching, but his position is, I've got the clout. I'm going to take advantage of that clout. We're going to leave no stone unturned. But it does put management in a real predicament moving forward, because now do you have to consult with Connor on every transaction? Trade deadline. To your point, the draft is coming up. Edmonton's roster probably isn't good enough, is it? So it gets real greasy in a short period of time.
It does. I would just say, from my experience playing, players have a pretty good indication on a lot of the other players in the league. But for the most part, for example, they see the Eastern Conference 2 games a year, right? Game in the East, game in the West. What do you really know? But a player might have an opinion on another player that's completely off base. I remember playing against guys and I was like, man, this guy is unreal. He's so good. Then you look in the stat pack and he's got 6 goals. It just on those nights, he's awesome, right? The business cannot be tossed aside, right? The case you just laid out. It's factual. It is the thing. Connor's different than other players in the league. I don't see this being a across the board standard practice.
No.
I really don't. And so all of this, I guess, gets back somehow to Bruce Cassidy. And that if Bruce Cassidy was available, then I guess none of this would have transpired. It didn't seem so anyway.
Okay, so now we got to shift over to Babcock because we know that the NHL is investigating the allegations that Babs invaded players' privacy back with the Columbus Blue Jackets in 2023. the Players Association encouraged the investigation. League sources say there's no timeline on this. And I'm thinking that it's not going to happen while the Stanley Cup Final is going on, because the one thing we know is the NHL, rightly so, is sensitive to any negative distraction away from the games. That happened the other night going into Game 4 with more Babcock news. We'll see as we record this Thursday morning, Game 5, whether or not there's more to come. So I'm in the airport on Wednesday in Toronto to fly to Raleigh, and I bump into Sheldon Keefe, who still has a place in the Toronto area, right? His family's here. He goes back and forth from New Jersey. Well, it was a real quick interaction. We probably spent 5 minutes with one another, but I think 4.5, we're talking about what's going on with Babcock. And it's everybody is having this conversation. So we'll have to let due diligence run the course. Let the league do its investigation. If Babs is cleared, okay, then the Oilers can hire Mike Babcock. He's the recommended choice by Connor McDavid and company. What if they find something where the backlash is just too much, where the Oilers just go, okay, we're not doing this. We're backing out. Or as we talked about on Tuesday, maybe Babs goes, I'm not putting my family through this. He backs out. If you're Bruce Cassidy and you do get permission from Vegas, do you feel a little off? Because all right, you've been dragged through this too because you didn't have permission, but now do you feel like you're second choice? Or were you first choice and you weren't allowed to talk to the team, so it's okay, I'll now sign with Edmonton? Probably the latter, right?
Oh, for sure it is. What I don't understand about the Babcock news leaking out or being trial ballooned out there, I guess. What I don't like about it from an observer's point of view is the Stanley Cup Final is going to be over in the max in 6 or 7 days. Right? It's over. Unless Edmonton has information that Cassidy is not going to be available, full stop, why wouldn't you just wait 6 or 7 days? There is no lineup to hire Mike Babcock. He's going to be available in 6 or 7 days. So why not wait and not go through all of this? I found that to be a curious little side part of this story. Just why not wait? Why not wait?
Yeah, I hear you. I guess what I would think is they didn't expect that this investigation would happen, that it was needed, that the Players Association would push, which further delays it. And, according to people who know, Babcock wowed these guys. And by these guys, I'm talking about the players. He wowed them in the discussion that they had. So maybe
Darren, hang on, let me stop you for a second. You've known Babs for 30 years.
Yes, I've known him a long time. Yeah.
100% he would wow them.
Yeah.
Like 100%. There is zero question. When you talk to Mike Babcock, it's almost impossible not to get caught in the swirl.
Yeah.
Because he is an impressive speaker. He's 100% confident in his abilities. So I think though there's two sides to this that I think are really important. There's the investigation side of whatever went on in Columbus. There's also the hockey side, whereas he hasn't coached in the NHL for 9 years or 8 years, I guess, was not exactly ringing up victories in the previous couple of years, albeit with a rebuild team when they started. So the players will not think about that. They'll think about Team Canada, Olympics, Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup was in 2008. That's a long time ago. So I think there's really two sides to the evaluation of this. But Mike would kill any interview he's in.
All right. Well, we've got to move on to Game 5, but and I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of this. It's hard news. That's what it is. But every time we bring up Babcock in the conversation and everything that's going on, doesn't your brain automatically go to a Babcock impersonation? Like as
Impossible.
you're
Well, let me tell you here, Darren. Let me tell you here. It's impossible. There are certain people you cannot think about
yeah,
and not
it's
talk in your
impossible.
head in
Yeah,
their voice. It is
yeah.
unbelievable.
Hey, my favorite player of all time is that Zach Hyman. He's a real good player. Leon, you're a star. Connor, you're the best to ever
I'm
play.
oh,
We got good
and
players.
you know who else he could I'll tell you one other guy he could never talk about without getting wrong is Val Filipula. And you'd be like, you go, who? And he'd be like,
Who?
Filipula. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Filipula? Yeah, Filipula.
Yeah, that
He
guy,
could
yeah.
never get that name
He's
right,
a good
ever.
player, really good player.
Good player, good player.
All right, enough of that. All right, let's go to Game 5 here in Raleigh. Series is tied at 2. Jordan Staal captained the Hurricanes. What a night in Game 4 with 2 enormous goals. John Tortorella, after the game, talked about Staal and just simply said, frankly, he's killing us in front. Like Jordan Staal is killing us. So what does that mean, aside from the obvious that he's scoring big goals, and he scored big goals on Tuesday, even the series? We're talking about size, we're talking about strength, we're talking about hockey IQ. Like, does it all boil into a winning recipe from Jordan Staal?
Well, it does. I mean, if Carolina wins the Stanley Cup, I think he's the Conn Smythe winner. I
Wow.
His
Wow.
performance in this final has been unbelievable. So we know he's got 5 goals. He's also won 68% of his faceoffs. And it's
Crazy.
not like he takes 10 faceoffs a game. He takes
No.
25. And
Yeah.
they go out every faceoff that's a big draw. That big horse is out there and you've got to fight against him. He is a huge guy
He's
and
huge.
so strong. But I know everybody probably gets a little bit of energy in the final. I would assume so.
Yeah.
He's skating as well as he's skated in years. He is on the puck. He is quicker, I would say, because he's not a fast guy, but he's
No.
quicker than he's 37 years old. I saw a
Mhm.
clip last week, the 2009 Pittsburgh Stanley Cup Final, their win in Detroit, where Fleury makes that diving save at Lidstrom
Yeah.
at the buzzer. Jordan Staal is 20 years old and he's on the ice. And in that game, Crosby got hurt in the first period, and Staal basically had to take over the number 1 center spot. But he
Mhm.
was on the ice 18 years ago. Like, it's crazy that he
It
is
is.
this
Yeah.
good. So what does Vegas have to do? You know, Teams defend different in front of the net. When the puck comes in from the point, they often front the shot.
Yeah.
I think they have to change the way they defend Staal. You can't front the shot because if there's a loose puck, he's stronger than everybody else, it appears, to get to it. Like the other
Yeah.
day, point shot comes in, it hits Gostisbehere. No, Gostisbehere shoots it, it hits McNabb in the arm and drops down. Well, if McNabb is playing Staal, it might hit him, but he's playing Staal's stick. But he's fronting the shot, it hits him, falls down, and Staal's just there. And he
Yeah.
punches it in the net. So I would think that's something to think about. I don't think it's as easy to do as just saying it, but he has been unbelievable. Absolute difference maker. And I'm going to make a
Yeah.
comparison tonight on our show about he and Mark Stone, the 2 captains, who, if you were picking for a skating race, they would be your last 2 picks. And these guys both are unbelievable players. Stone
Yes.
scored again. I can't believe how many breakaways Mark Stone gets. Like, it is crazy that he's the guy getting, because he's so smart. And
Yeah.
both of these teams have captains and leaders that lead more with what they do than what they say. And
Yeah.
I'm super impressed with with the way they play, but also with the final series that they're having.
Yeah. 33 goals, right, in 4 games, which is tied for second highest ever. Ever is a long
Great.
time
Yeah,
in the National Hockey
it
League.
is. Yeah.
8.3 average per game. And I remember back to us doing the preview of the Stanley Cup Final. And I think both of us just felt strongly, this is going to be a low scoring 1-goal affair.
Yeah.
We're looking at
Yeah.
2-1, 3-2 type of hockey games, not what we're seeing.
No.
So you literally get paid to analyze and explain what we're seeing, and the multiple goal leads that quickly evaporate as the game goes on. I mean, how do you make sense of it? 4 games through, how do you make sense of the level of scoring?
Pressure creates cracks. And I don't mean the pressure of being in the final. I mean the pressure of the other team. And so when a team gets a half a leg up of momentum, there's more pressure, and they can't stop it. Nobody can get a handle on the game in these crazy moments. In each game, there's been a 2-goal lead. And that 2-goal lead means nothing. We used to always joke,
Nothing.
"Oh, worst lead in hockey, 2-goal lead." Well, it is in this series.
Yeah.
So last game, it's 2-0, 3-1, 3-3. Like, of course
Yeah.
it is. And I think it is the pressure that the other team, whether it's Carolina to Vegas or Vegas to Carolina, that pressure creates cracks. And the
Yeah.
cracks end up in the back of the net because the goaltending at best has been okay at both ends of the ice. Carter Hart's
Yeah.
given up 4 goals in each
Yeah.
game. Aiden Hill hasn't played since April, so this
Mm.
is Hart to the finish line, and he is. I think he's played 25 straight games. Like, it's
Yeah.
a crazy workload, and
Mm-hmm.
so in a way, going to Brandon Bussey gives Carolina, certainly a fresher goalie, and he's done the job for what, 5 periods, but
Yeah.
he gave up 3 the other night as well. It feels like this series is gone off the rails, and defensively nobody's going to get it back on, and I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
It has been wildly entertaining. So you mentioned the goaltending, you mentioned Hart. He has made some saves, but the word that was used around Game 4 was leaky. Which
Yeah,
goalies hate. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible
yeah.
explanation, but it fits. So aside from the obvious that he needs to have a big night and the rest of the series needs to be near flawless, what does that look like to you around him? Does he just simply have to elevate his game? We've talked about Jordan Staal and how they defend net front and all of those things, but if that happens, does that give Carter Hart a better chance of having a knockout punch in the games remaining here?
Well, I'm thinking about the goals that went in. He gave up 4 the other night, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the Stankoven goal is a bounce off the backboards
yeah.
that he doesn't play coming off the backboards. He doesn't get a stick, kind of hops out to him and he chips it
Kind of
over
whiffed
top of
on
him.
it. Yeah,
Right. So he probably wants to play that puck better. The
yeah.
Jason Blake goal, I called him again, Jason. It's Jackson. Gee, for the
Yeah, but you
love
played
of
with
God.
Jason. That's just a slip. I
Yeah, but it doesn't
understand that.
matter.
Yeah.
People hate it and I hate it. Jackson, Jackson, Jackson. That's it, Jackson. So that's a backdoor play. That one's on Hannafin. He can't let that
Yeah.
pass get through. And once it
Mhm.
gets there, he's not going to stop it, right? The third one's the rebound that hits McNabb and falls down, and Stahl punches into net. The fourth one's that crazy bouncy play, but
Yeah.
that's the one I don't like because he doesn't react and track the puck. And sometimes I wonder for goalies when they get just a little bit tired, if that's
Mhm.
where they're not as sharp. So 2 of the goals, the one off the backboards
Yeah.
and the Stahl turned out to be the game winner. Um, he if he's a little sharper, Drakes, he probably gets them both. And
Okay.
what are we talking about here? We're like the thinnest of margins in a series that
Thinnest.
has all been all 1-goal games. Last game's an
Mm.
empty netter, and so yeah, but you can't just say, well, be sharper, tighten up.
No.
You have to
Yeah.
hope that he got a little bit, a little bit of clarity in the day. Here's the other thing. because the league moved the series up, it's supposed to be on each travel 2 days off, right? That's the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
But it does not. And so game 4 was in Vegas. Yesterday was a travel day. I feel tired today. I just stood there and talked. Nobody hit me. And we flew.
A good
and
point.
Then, so how do you regain energy? Like that's where Carter Hart's at. Like, well, everybody else, but specifically we're talking about him.
Okay, let's wrap up the Canadian Brewhouse headlines with something Steve Dryden, our old buddy, used to love, and that was identifying
the quiz.
X factor.
The quiz?
No. Canada's favorite game show, yeah. Yes. So it can't be a goalie. My X factors, I'm going to pick one for each team, and maybe it's Captain Obvious here. I feel like Aho is I mean, he's due, right?
Right.
I feel like he's ready not ready. He's going to have a big game. So that's my Carolina pick. And then Dorofeyev was such an influence and impact, through the better part of 3 rounds. And he's gone quiet for the Vegas Golden Knights. So those are my 2 X factors. How about you? Who do you see?
Well, Dorofeyev, I pick him to score every game, and he's not even close.
No.
Although last game he had one chance on the power play and he didn't hit it right. Now this will be a little silly, but I'm going to pick Jack Eichel. And the reason I'm going to pick him, he's only got what's he got in the playoffs here? 2 goals, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
He hit the crossbar and he missed that chance with one of the last face-offs right before the empty netter. So I'm like, oh, that's close. I think when a guy's close, that's the guy to look for. So I'll go Eichel first, Dorofeyev on the Vegas side, and sure, Aho, but he started to play a little better, I think.
Yeah.
But I want him to look for his shot. He's got a really good shot. He always seems to be passing, looking for a pass. So I'll pick Aho, but without question, Andrei Svechnikov's got to get into the series. Oh my God, he's been a ghost. He's got one power play goal. When I watch him, I'm like, if you could stoke a fire in that guy, just a little bit, because he's got it all. He's such a really good player. He had 31 goals in a regular season, right? And when he gets to that edgy stuff, just like a little more physical, I think he's more likely to get it at home. So he's going to be my guy. So I'm going to go, even though I mentioned Dorofeyev and
that's fine.
Aho, I'm going to go Svechnikov and Eichel today.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes, and we'll check back. Who knows? We could have a Stanley Cup champion by the next time we visit here on the Rain Dregs Hockey Podcast as we go into Game 5, Game 6 on Sunday, and those are your Canadian Brewhouse headlines.
It feels like Tim Hortons has always been part of my routine, certainly as a dad, as a coach, or taking my kids to the early morning hockeys. Had to go through the drive-thru and get my cup of coffee and get the Timbits for the kids. Can I get a medium coffee with milk, please? Then even driving into studio now at TSN, if I don't go through the drive-thru, get my medium coffee with milk, I feel like my routine has been interrupted.
Here's your coffee.
Thank you.
Right there, guys.
You too. Only way to start a day.
One of the favorite parts of the podcast is the Tim's Hockey Challenge. And we bring in Chris Sabunia twice a week. Zuby joins us to take us through the good, the bad, and the very often ugly. And
called the Rashog. It's called the Rashog these days. The good, the bad, and the Rashog.
The bad and the Rashog. Speaking about needing to find our edge, players who need to find their edge. We need to find our edge here, fellas. It's been, it was an 0-for game all around last game. So the standings remain with Ray and I tied atop the list with 10 dregs, only one behind with 9. And we know Schauger is also playing. He's still, but he got one. He got off the schneid. He's very satisfied.
Oh, but that was last week. Don't say like he got it
Game
last time.
2.
It was like,
Yeah, that is true. So now, what's your guys' strategy for picking tonight? Because I'll tell you, I've been running back some of the same players because it's just like, I know as soon as I don't pick these guys, they're going to score.
Yeah. I didn't have a strategy. I didn't. I mean, I just looked at, there's a lot of defensemen available in all 3 buckets. That's a challenge for me. That's a challenge.
yeah, I will say I have 2 of my 3 picks today have no goals in the series. So I'm feeling really strong about my choices here,
You're playing the do factor. Well, I'll tell you, my first and third, I got Aho, and in third, I got Hannafin. I've had Hannafin for a bunch. I feel like he's due to get, that he's due.
And
but
Zuby, I'm going to say this is why we're tied. Those are 2 of my picks, but it's going to be the second bucket where I'm going to make hay today, and I'm not telling you.
All right,
in case you guys are. Well, look, Drager's like, oh, maybe I should pick those guys.
No, I already picked, and I'm happy that neither one of you took Mark Stone.
Good.
He's my first bucket, and
who's your second bucket?
That's why I was.
Can you remember?
Typing in. No, I can't remember. But I will look. It won't take me but a second.
Who you got, Zub?
I was between 2 Carolina forwards who were actually in the second bucket, and then when I double checked, one of them, Martinuk, was on the top line. So I thought, I think that's probably the better choice of the 2. So I've got.
We have the same picks.
Do we?
That sucks. That sucks.
I took Martinuk as well in the second.
So
bucket.
your hope to move up is Mark Stone.
Mark Stone.
Basically. Nikishin I took in the third spot. I'm just like, I don't know, maybe a shot.
Oh, that guy shoots it. He shoots at 100 miles an hour. He might.
I know.
But
I know.
I think we're going to be. I think we're going to be in the same spot moving ahead here.
This is a pivotal one for me. I'm trailing by 1 goal.
Yeah.
This game matters in a big way for me, especially given you guys have the same picks.
Could you imagine a 3-way tie going into the first game where the cup is in the building? That would really be something.
Oh, love it.
All right, Zuby. Thanks buddy.
Guys.
All right, there's Chris Sabunia, the Tim's Hockey Challenge. Well, we're both right in hotel rooms, and it's coming up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
We've got to get going.
Skates, so we're dating this podcast. So I'll see you at the rink, my friend. Have a good one.
See you at the rink. I'll buy you a croissant. They're all sitting there.
All right, it's going to be a good one. We get set.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for listening. Everybody
set.
Enjoy it. It's been awesome. And
it has been.
We'll talk to you, and maybe there'll be a cup awarded already, but enjoy the next couple of days.
Yeah, and thank you to our sponsors who continue to support us here on the Ray and Drake's Hockey Podcast. Our title sponsor, Tim Hortons, and thank you to the Canadian Brew House. Enjoy Game 5, enjoy Game 6. Until next time, stay safe.